Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother and sister, welcome back to Islamic Notes channel. South Korea, a country known as the land of ginseng, is the largest ginseng producer in the world. However, this time we will not discuss ginseng, but rather about the development of Muslims and the atmosphere of Ramadan there. Islam in South Korea is a minority religion. The Muslim community there is centered in Seoul and Busan. Currently, there are 15 officially registered mosques, as well as around 150 to 200 prayer rooms. As reported by the Korea Times, according to the Korean Muslim Federation, around 200,000 Muslims live in South Korea. In Seoul itself, the Muslim population reaches 40% of the total Muslim population in the country. Did you know there are two most popular mosques there, namely the Seoul Al-Markaz Mosque and the Abu Bakr Ash-Shiddiq Mosque? The Seoul Al-Markaz Mosque, also known as the Seoul Central Mosque, is the oldest mosque in South Korea. This mosque was inaugurated on May 21, 1976, with a building area of 427 square meters and can accommodate many worshippers. Meanwhile, the Abu Bakr Ash-Shiddiq Mosque was established in 1985 and is located in the Deokjin-gu district, South Korea. Its architecture is magnificent, combining Islamic and Korean art. The roof of this mosque combines the characteristics of Korean buildings, while the dome follows the typical design of the mosque. These mosques are known to be friendly to Muslim tourists who come to South Korea. Religious organizations or Muslim communities have an important role in the development of Islam in South Korea. Muslims in the ginseng country have built many mosques and mobilized religious organizations to spread Islam, including Muslims from Indonesia. One of the organizations that is active in spreading Islam in Korea is Nahdlatul Ulama in South Korea. The development of Islam in South Korea is indeed not as large as in other countries. Although the number of Muslim population there is still small, the South Korean government treats Muslims fairly and provides equal rights, including permits for the construction of mosques and universities through the Korea Muslim Federation. Let's discuss how Muslims in South Korea carry out the Ramadan fast. Muslims in South Korea carry out the Ramadan fast with enthusiasm and sincerity. Although the Muslim population there is only around 0.38% of the total population, they still carry out their worship solemnly. The duration of fasting in South Korea is also different from that in Indonesia. If in Indonesia fasting lasts around 13 hours, in South Korea it can reach 15 hours, due to the difference in geographical location. Activities in mosques during the month of Ramadan are also more crowded than usual. The South Korean Ministry of Foreign Affairs also routinely holds breaking the fast together with diplomats and politicians from Muslim countries. Most beautifully, although not all South Koreans understand about Ramadan, they still show tolerance and respect the beliefs and customs of Muslims. Muslims there can carry out their worship peacefully. There is also an interesting tradition during the month of Ramadan in South Korea. Every Friday, a Quran reading competition is held, which can be participated by Korean Muslims and Muslim tourists. This competition is held at the Seoul Al-Markaz Mosque or Seoul Central Mosque. Rapid development of Islam in South Korea. Islam is a religion that continues to grow in various parts of the world, including in East Asia, such as South Korea. Although the number of adherents is still a minority compared to other major religions, such as Christianity and Buddhism, the development of Islam in South Korea has shown a fairly rapid trend in recent decades. The history of the entry of Islam into South Korea can be traced back to the Korean War, 1950 to 1953, when troops from member countries of the United Nations, including Muslim soldiers from Turkey, came to help South Korea. The close relationship between the Turkish army and the local community at that time was the beginning of the introduction of the Korean people to the teachings of Islam. Many Turkish soldiers set up makeshift mosques and performed worship in front of local residents, thus triggering the interest of some Korean people to learn more about this religion. Over time, the number of Muslims in South Korea continues to grow, both from immigrants, migrant workers, students, and local residents who decided to embrace Islam. Currently, it is estimated that there are around 200,000 Muslims in South Korea, consisting of around 35,000 Korean citizens and the rest are foreign Muslims from various countries, such as Indonesia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Middle Eastern countries. One of the important markers of the development of Islam in South Korea is the establishment of the Seoul Central Mosque in 1976. This mosque is located in the Itaewon area, Seoul, which is known as a multicultural area. This mosque not only functions as a place of worship, but also as a center for preaching, education, and social activities for the Muslim community in South Korea. Other mosques have also begun to emerge in various big cities such as Busan, Incheon, and Gwangju. The rapid development of Islam in South Korea is also driven by the increasing number of foreign students from Muslim countries studying at various universities in Korea. The South Korean government, which is open to cultural and religious diversity, also provides space for Muslims to practice their religious teachings. Several universities provide prayer rooms and halal food for Muslim students, while halal restaurants and halal grocery stores have also begun to appear in several major cities. In addition, the increasing interest of Koreans in Middle Eastern and Muslim countries' cultures, such as through films, music, and food, has contributed to introducing Islam in a positive light in the eyes of Korean society. Some locals have even decided to embrace Islam after learning more about its teachings through friends, partners, or personal experiences. However, challenges remain in the development of Islam in South Korea. Stigma and misunderstandings about Islam are still quite strong among some Koreans, influenced by negative news in the international media. Nevertheless, the Muslim community in South Korea continues to carry out various social and cultural activities to introduce the peaceful and tolerant values of Islam. With a spirit of brotherhood and openness, the development of Islam in South Korea is believed to continue to grow in the future. The presence of an active Muslim community, adequate religious facilities, and support from the government and society that are increasingly open to religious diversity are important factors in making Islam a part of the cultural diversity in the Ginseng country. History of Islam in South Korea. The entry of Islam into South Korea has a historical trail that is quite unique and different compared to other Asian countries. Islam was first introduced to the Korean peninsula in the modern era precisely during the Korean War from 1950 to 1953. At that time, South Korea received assistance from the United Nations, UN troops, including Muslim troops from Turkey who were members of the Turkish Brigade. The Turkish soldiers who came to South Korea not only carried out military duties, but also maintained their religious worship and traditions on the battlefield. This attracted the attention of local residents who had never seen Muslim worship practices before. The interaction between the Turkish soldiers and the Korean population was the starting point for the introduction of the Korean people to the teachings of Islam. After the war ended, several Turkish soldiers decided to remain in South Korea, while some Korean people began to be interested in studying Islam further. Over time, a number of Korean converts began to emerge. In 1955, the Muslim community in South Korea officially formed a religious organization called the Korea Muslim Federation, KMF, which to this day is the largest Islamic organization in the country. The KMF is tasked with organizing various religious activities, establishing mosques, and fostering Muslim communities from both local and foreign circles. The year 1976 was an important milestone for the development of Islam in South Korea, with the inauguration of the Seoul Central Mosque in the Itaewon area of Seoul. This mosque was built thanks to the support of the South Korean government and financial assistance from Middle Eastern countries, such as Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. This mosque is the first and largest mosque in South Korea, as well as a symbol of the presence of Muslims in the country. After the establishment of the Seoul Central Mosque, the development of Islam in South Korea continued. Small mosques and prayer rooms began to be established in several large cities such as Busan, Gwangju, Daejeon, and Incheon. In addition, halal facilities, such as restaurants, halal grocery stores, and places of worship on campuses and multinational companies also began to be available to meet the needs of the Muslim community. In the modern era, the influx of foreign students from Muslim countries, as well as migrant workers from Indonesia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Middle Eastern countries have also increased the Muslim population in South Korea. Interestingly, there are also quite a few local Koreans who embraced Islam after learning about the teachings of this religion through friends, spouses, or while living abroad. Currently, although Islam still has the status of a minority religion, its existence is officially recognized by the South Korean government. The Muslim community continues to actively organize various social, religious, and cultural activities to strengthen relations with the surrounding community, as well as introduce the peaceful and Ramadan Lil Alamin teachings of Islam. The development of modern Islam in South Korea. Entering the modern era, the development of Islam in South Korea has undergone quite significant changes. Although the number of Muslims in this ginseng country is still relatively small compared to other religions, such as Christianity and Buddhism, the existence and role of the Muslim community in various aspects of Korean society is increasingly clear. In the early 21st century, one of the important factors driving the development of modern Islam in South Korea was globalization and increasing international interaction. South Korea, known as a developed country with an open economy, attracts thousands of students, migrant workers, and Muslim expatriates from various countries such as Indonesia, Malaysia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Uzbekistan, and several Middle Eastern countries. The presence of this foreign Muslim community not only increases the Muslim population in Korea, but also enriches the social, cultural, and religious life in the country. In various big cities such as Seoul, Busan, Incheon, and Daejeon, the Muslim community is actively building mosques, prayer rooms, and community centers that become centers of religious and social activities. Currently, there are more than 15 mosques and around 100 prayer rooms throughout South Korea that are used by the Muslim community for worship and gathering. One of the most famous mosques is the Seoul Central Mosque in the Itaewon area. This mosque is not only a place of worship, but also a center for preaching, teaching Islam, and social activities. Every Friday, this mosque is filled with Muslim worshippers from various countries, including local residents who are starting to be interested in learning about Islam. In addition, around the mosque, there are also various halal restaurants, halal grocery stores, and Islamic educational institutions. Halal facilities in South Korea are also continuing to develop rapidly. Along with the increasing number of Muslim tourists visiting Korea, the South Korean government, through the Korea Tourism Organization, KTO, is actively promoting Muslim-friendly tourism. Many restaurants, hotels, and tourist attractions now provide halal menus, prayer rooms, and special information for Muslim tourists. In fact, several major universities in South Korea have also provided prayer rooms and halal food menus in their campus canteens for Muslim students. In terms of preaching, the development of Islam in South Korea is also supported by social media, digital platforms, and online communities. Many young Koreans are starting to be interested in learning about Islam through the internet, YouTube videos, podcasts, and even attending Islamic introduction classes held by Muslim communities. Several Korean converts are also actively sharing their experiences on how they found Islam and lived as Muslims in the midst of a predominantly non-Muslim Korean society. In addition, mixed marriages between Koreans and foreign Muslims are also one way for Islamic teachings to enter local families. Many of these couples then build Islamic households and actively introduce Islamic values to their surroundings. Even so, the Muslim community in South Korea still faces various challenges. Issues of negative stereotypes about Islam still often arise, especially due to international news that is often unbalanced. However, through a cultural approach, interfaith, dialogue, and social activities, the Muslim community in Korea is trying to erode this stigma and introduce the peaceful, tolerant, and loving face of Islam. One example is the various iftar activities routinely held by the Seoul Central Mosque during the month of Ramadan, which are not only attended by Muslims, but are also open to the general public who want to learn about Muslim traditions. This event is often filled with local Koreans who are curious about Ramadan culture and want to experience the atmosphere of togetherness when breaking the fast. Korean Muslim figures, although not many in number, have begun to emerge and are active in academics, arts, and social activities. They are a bridge between the Muslim community and Korean society in general, and play an important role in building a positive image of Islam in the land of ginseng. In the future, the development of modern Islam in South Korea is expected to continue to increase. With the support of the government that is starting to be open to diversity, an increasingly solid Muslim community, and the awareness of Korean society about the importance of interfaith tolerance, Islam has the potential to become one of the social and cultural forces that makes a positive contribution to the life of the nation and state in South Korea. Influential Korean Muslim figures. Although the Muslim community in South Korea is still a minority, in its development several Muslim figures from Korea have emerged who have had important influences both among the Muslim community and among the general public. These figures play an active role in introducing Islam, building interfaith dialogue, and making contributions in various fields such as education, social, and culture. One of the most well-known Korean Muslim figures is Abdurrahman Lee Joo-hwa. He is known as one of the pioneers of the spread of Islam in South Korea after the Korean War. Abdurrahman Lee Joo-hwa was the first Korean convert to Islam under the guidance of the Turkish army in the early 1950s. After converting to Islam, he became one of the central figures in the Korean Muslim community and was active in various dawah and social activities. He also served as chairman of the Korea Muslim Federation, KMF, the official organization of Korean Muslims tasked with organizing religious activities and fostering the Muslim community in South Korea. His contribution was very large in establishing religious facilities, including the construction of the Seoul Central Mosque. The next figure is Kim Dae-yong, a Korean Muslim academic and scholar who actively writes and gives lectures on Islam. He is known as an intellectual who tries to build a peaceful and rational image of Islam in Korean society. Through his writings and studies, Kim Dae-yong tries to correct various misunderstandings about Islamic teachings that often develop in society due to the influence of foreign media. He is also often invited to interfaith discussions and cultural forums to discuss diversity, tolerance, and peace. In addition, there is also Abdul Wahid Kim Dong-soo, one of the Muslim figures who is widely known among the South Korean Muslim community. He is active in various dawah, education, and social activities. Abdul Wahid Kim Dong-soo is also involved in the management of the Seoul Central Mosque and often gives Friday sermons, religious lectures, and introductory Islamic classes for local Korean residents who want to learn Islamic teachings. His presence is highly respected both among local Muslims and foreign Muslim communities in Korea. In the digital era, a number of young Korean Muslims have also begun to show their influence through social media. Some of them actively create positive content about Islam, such as videos about how to pray, explanations about fasting during Ramadan, and vlogs about the daily life of a Muslim in Korea. These contents are not only followed by the Muslim community, but also by non-Muslim Koreans who are curious and want to learn about Islam. One name that is quite well known on social media is Daud Kim, previously known as Jae Kim, a South Korean singer, YouTuber, and entertainer. Daud Kim decided to embrace Islam in 2019. Since becoming a Muslim, Daud Kim has been actively sharing his experiences as a convert in South Korea through his YouTube channel. He often creates content about his spiritual journey, basic knowledge about Islam, and his experiences visiting Muslim countries such as Indonesia, Malaysia, and Saudi Arabia. Daud Kim's courage in being open about his Islam and sharing his life story has inspired many people, both Muslims and non-Muslims, to learn more about Islam. The existence of these Korean Muslim figures is very important in building a positive image of Islam in the Ginseng country. Through their roles in various fields, from academics, social, preaching, to social media, they have succeeded in showing that Islam is a religion that brings a message of peace, compassion, and tolerance. They are also a real example that a Muslim can live harmoniously in the midst of a Korean society that is predominantly non-Muslim, without having to lose their religious identity. In addition to the figures above, there are also many members of the Korean Muslim community who anonymously contribute through various social activities, environmental services, humanitarian fundraising, and educational programs. They may not be widely known by the general public, but their role in strengthening the solidarity of Muslims and establishing good relations with the surrounding community is very meaningful for the development of Islam in South Korea. In the future, it is hoped that more Korean Muslim figures will be born from the younger generation, both in the fields of art, culture, education, and technology. They will become small ambassadors of Islam who spread the values of goodness and peace in the ginseng country, while also building a bridge of brotherhood between the Muslim community and Korean society more broadly. The phenomenon of Koreans converting to Islam in droves. In the last few decades, South Korea has experienced quite interesting social changes in terms of religion and spirituality. One of them is the phenomenon of the increasing number of Koreans converting to Islam. Although still a minority, the Muslim community in South Korea has shown positive developments, both in terms of numbers and its existence in a society that is predominantly non-Muslim. This phenomenon of Koreans converting to Islam indicates that Islam is starting to find a place in the hearts of some Koreans who are known to be modern and very open to foreign cultures. Background to the emergence of this phenomenon. There are several factors that trigger this phenomenon. The first is the globalization of information. In the current digital era and openness of media, South Koreans, especially the younger generation, can easily access various information about world religions, including Islam. They can learn about Islam through the internet, YouTube videos, documentaries, and translated books that are now increasingly easy to obtain. Second, direct interaction with foreign Muslim communities in Korea has also had a major influence. Thousands of Muslim students from Indonesia, Malaysia, Pakistan, the Middle East, and African countries who study at various universities in South Korea, as well as Muslim migrant workers who live and work in Korea, indirectly introduce Islamic values to the local community. Friendships, marriages, and work collaborations between foreign Muslims and Korean citizens have opened the hearts of some Koreans to Islam. Third, the need for spirituality in the midst of modernization. South Korea is known as a developed country with high levels of social stress due to job competition, educational pressures, and a fast-paced lifestyle. This has caused some people, especially the younger generation, to begin seeking inner peace. For some of them, Islam is present as a religion that offers peace, discipline, balance in life, and human values. The moment of Ramadan and the phenomenon of converts. One of the moments that often becomes a turning point for many Koreans to get to know Islam better is the month of Ramadan. During this holy month, mosques in South Korea, especially the Seoul Central Mosque in the Itaewon area, routinely hold iftar together, which is open to the public. Many Koreans come to experience the atmosphere of breaking the fast, taste halal food, and learn more about Islam from local and foreign Muslims. This activity often leaves a deep impression on local visitors. Not a few of them finally decide to say the two sentences of the Shahada and embrace Islam after feeling the warmth of togetherness and the calming teachings of Islam. Data from the Korea Muslim Federation, KMF, states that the number of Korean converts has increased every year, especially during and after the month of Ramadan. The role of social media in Korean convert figures. This phenomenon is also inseparable from the influence of social media. The stories of Korean converts who share their spiritual journeys on YouTube, Instagram, and personal blogs have inspired many people to learn about Islam. One of the most famous is Daud Kim, a Korean YouTuber and singer who converted to Islam in 2019. Daud Kim's story about how he found peace and meaning in life in Islam received an extraordinary response, both from Muslims and non-Muslims. Through videos discussing learning ablution, prayer, fasting, and his visit to Mecca, Daud Kim has succeeded in breaking the negative stigma about Islam that has developed in some Korean society due to foreign media coverage. This phenomenon has made more and more young Koreans curious and finally studying Islamic teachings with an open heart. In addition to Daud Kim, there are also other Korean converts who are actively preaching through social media and small communities. They create Islamic educational content in Korean, open Islamic introduction classes, and hold religious discussions that are open to anyone. Their courage to appear in public spaces is an important factor in normalizing the image of Islam in South Korea. The role of Muslim communities in Dawah activities. The Muslim community in South Korea, both local and foreign, also plays a major role in welcoming and guiding converts. In addition to providing worship facilities, mosques in Korea often hold basic classes on Islam, religious studies, Arabic language courses, and training in reading the Quran. These activities are not only intended for long-standing Muslims, but also for new converts who need guidance in order to practice Islamic teachings correctly. The Korea Muslim Federation, KMF, routinely holds Shahada ceremonies, where Koreans who wish to embrace Islam can recite the 2 sentences of the Shahada officially in front of the mosque administrators and receive an Islamic certificate. The number of Koreans who convert to Islam continues to grow, with the highest increasing trend occurring in the last 5 years. Challenges faced by Korean converts. Although the phenomenon of converting to Islam in South Korea continues to increase, converts still face various challenges. One of them is social stigma and pressure from the family environment. Some Koreans still have a negative perception of Islam due to foreign media coverage of the conflict in the Middle East. In addition, there is also the assumption that becoming a Muslim means abandoning Korean cultural traditions. Therefore, not all converts dare to express their Islam in front of their families and the wider community. Some choose to live their religious life in secret, while others begin to dare to appear openly, especially in Muslim communities or when they are in the mosque. The future of Islam in South Korea. The phenomenon of Koreans flocking to Islam is proof that Islamic teachings can be accepted anywhere, including in countries with a majority non-Muslim population, such as South Korea. Through a peaceful approach, interfaith dialogue, and moral example, Islam is slowly gaining a place in the hearts of the Korean people. In the future, with the continued growth of the Muslim community, the addition of mosques and halal facilities, and the increasing number of Korean Muslim public figures, it is estimated that the trend of converting to Islam in South Korea will continue. This is expected to strengthen relations between Korean society and the global Muslim world, as well as build social harmony in the ginseng country. The role of the Muslim community in South Korea in social and cultural activities. The Muslim community in South Korea not only plays a role in religious and dawah aspects, but also has a major contribution in social and cultural activities. As a minority living in a society that is predominantly non-Muslim, the Muslim community in Korea has its own challenges in building its existence and creating space for diversity. However, despite this, they have succeeded in making a significant positive impact, both in introducing Islamic culture and in participating in social development in South Korea. First, development of religious infrastructure and facilities. One of the most obvious contributions of the Muslim community in Korea is in the construction of mosques and religious facilities that support the worship activities of Muslims. The Seoul Central Mosque, located in the Itaewon area, is an important example of the Muslim community's efforts to build a house of worship that is not only used for prayer, but also for other religious activities, such as religious studies, Arabic language courses, and guidance for converts. In addition to the Seoul Central Mosque, there are many mosques and prayer rooms spread across various major cities in South Korea, including Busan, Incheon, and Daegu. These mosques not only serve as places of worship, but also as centers for social and cultural activities for Muslims, as well as meeting points for Koreans interested in learning more about Islam. These mosques also often hold various charity events, such as providing free food for the poor, distributing aid packages to those in need, and donation programs to support humanitarian projects in Muslim countries. Through these activities, the Muslim community in South Korea shows that Islam teaches compassion and concern for fellow human beings, not only for fellow Muslims, but also for all humanity, regardless of religious or racial background. Second, social and charity programs for local communities. The Muslim community in South Korea is also active in social and humanitarian activities that provide benefits to the general public, not limited to the Muslim community alone. Many of them are involved in social programs that help less fortunate Koreans, such as free food programs, health education, and educational assistance. For example, the Korean Muslim Federation, KMF, often holds iftar events during Ramadan, which are attended not only by Muslims, but also by non-Muslim Koreans who want to get acquainted with Islamic traditions. Such programs are a way for the Muslim community to introduce Islamic values of peace, brotherhood, and sharing to the Korean people. In addition, the Muslim community is also active in disaster management. They provide assistance to victims of natural disasters, both in South Korea and in other countries in need. Such social activities are very important to show that the Muslim community is not only focused on personal worship activities, but also plays an active role in broader social development to create a more just and prosperous society. 3. Strengthening Islamic cultural identity in Korea. The Muslim community also plays an important role in introducing and strengthening Islamic cultural identity in South Korea. One of the most visible aspects is in halal cuisine. Along with the increasing interest in halal food, many halal restaurants and cafes have sprung up in South Korea, especially in big cities such as Seoul and Busan. These restaurants not only serve the food needs of Muslims, but also attract the attention of Koreans who want to try Middle Eastern, Indonesian, Malaysian, and other Muslim cuisines. In addition to culinary, religious education is also part of the cultural identity introduced by the Muslim community. Many of them provide Islamic religious education classes, which are not only open to Muslims, but also to Koreans who are interested in studying Islamic teachings, from basic to advanced levels. In addition, mosques often hold Arabic language courses for those who want to understand more deeply about the language of the Quran and Islamic religious texts. In addition, the celebration of Islamic holidays such as Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha is also an important moment in introducing Islamic culture to the Korean people. In several places, especially in Itaewon, various celebratory events are held involving the local community, ranging from cultural exhibitions, art performances, to charity events. This is a good opportunity to introduce Muslim culture more widely and open a dialogue between Muslims and the wider Korean society. 4th, building interfaith and intercultural bridges. The Muslim community in South Korea also plays a very important role in building interfaith and intercultural bridges. Given that South Korea is a country with a majority Christian and Buddhist population and a small Muslim population, efforts to build harmonious relations between Muslims and non-Muslim communities are very important. Through interfaith dialogue, the Muslim community strives to eliminate misunderstandings about Islam that often arise due to ignorance. Events such as interfaith dialogues organized by mosques or Islamic religious organizations in Korea often present religious figures from various backgrounds to talk about peace, tolerance, and mutual understanding between religious communities. The Muslim community is also involved in various cultural events held by the Korean government, such as the World Culture Festival and the Itaewon Global Village Festival, which introduce Islamic culture and traditions through art, music, and cuisine. Their presence at these events helps introduce the diversity of Islamic culture and religion to the Korean public and shows that Islam is part of the global diversity that must be respected. 5. Education and influence on the younger generation. The Muslim community in Korea also places a strong focus on education, both for Muslim children and for young Koreans interested in Islam. Several Islamic schools in South Korea offer education based on Islamic values, teaching religious studies, as well as Arabic and the Quran. They strive to produce a young generation that not only understands Islam deeply, but can also adapt to the modern world. On the other hand, many young Korean Muslims are active in social media and modern dawah campaigns, trying to introduce Islam through a more contemporary approach. They use social media platforms to spread messages about tolerance, peace, and the beauty of Islamic teachings, as well as share their experiences as converts or as part of a larger Muslim community. The vital role of the Muslim community in the future. The role of the Muslim community in South Korea in social and cultural activities is increasingly important as the number of Muslims in the country grows. They serve not only as guardians of religious traditions and teachings, but also as drivers of social change that support the creation of a more just, peaceful, and inclusive society. Through social, cultural, and educational activities, the Muslim community in South Korea plays a key role in building interfaith relations and introducing Islam as a religion of love and tolerance. In the future, their role in Korean society is expected to grow even bigger, especially in introducing peaceful Islam, as well as creating diversity that is more appreciated and accepted by all levels of society. Sixth, contribution of the Muslim community to the local economy and halal industry. One important aspect of the Muslim community in South Korea is its contribution to the local economy, especially in the development of the halal industry. Although South Korea is not a Muslim-majority country, the demand for halal products is increasing, both from Muslims living in the country and Muslim tourists visiting Korea. This provides opportunities for Muslim entrepreneurs, both local and international, to open restaurants, cafes, shops, and supermarkets that provide halal products. The Korean Muslim community has created a thriving market for halal products, not only for personal consumption of Muslims, but also for Koreans who are interested in quality halal food. In addition, the halal tourism industry in Korea is also growing, with more and more travel agents offering halal tour packages and restaurants serving halal menus in various tourist destinations in South Korea. Halal restaurants in areas such as Itaewon, Seoul, and other major cities not only serve food from Muslim countries, but also present fusion cuisine that combines Korean flavors with Middle Eastern, Indian, and Southeast Asian flavors. This enriches the culinary diversity in Korea, as well as opening up new economic opportunities that introduce halal food to a wider audience. The Muslim community also plays an important role in shaping the halal business ecosystem, which involves various economic sectors, from food production, cosmetic products, to halal fashion products. With more and more Korean companies producing halal products, the Muslim community also plays a role in introducing Islamic ethical values that are also applied in the business world, such as honesty, fairness, and transparency. 7. The influence of Islamic arts and culture in Korean entertainment. The Muslim community in South Korea also plays a role in introducing Islamic arts and culture through various entertainment channels. Islamic art, with its distinctive calligraphy, music, and architectural design, is starting to be known by the Korean people. One prominent example is Arabic calligraphy, which is starting to be studied by many Koreans, both as part of their interest in Islamic art and as a form of deeper Arabic language learning. In addition, there is also the influence of Islamic culture in music and dance, which is often seen in international cultural events held in Korea. Several local Muslim communities hold Islamic art performances and Muslim cultural festivals featuring traditional Middle Eastern music, Sufi dance, and Arabic calligraphy and fine arts. Such events attract not only the Muslim community, but also Koreans who are interested in the beauty and depth of Islamic culture. Documentary films about the lives of Muslims in Korea, as well as films featuring Korean Muslim figures, also play a role in introducing aspects of Muslim life to the Korean public. By involving more parties in the production of films or television shows that depict Islamic life in a positive light, the Korean Muslim community helps break down negative stereotypes that may exist in society. 8. Muslim community involvement in environmental and sustainability movements. In addition to being involved in social, economic, and cultural activities, the Muslim community in South Korea is also increasingly active in environmental and sustainability movements. Islam teaches the preservation of nature and environmental sustainability as part of each individual's moral responsibility to God's creation. These values have been adopted by the Muslim community in Korea to contribute to efforts to protect the environment. Several Muslim organizations in Korea are active in environmental awareness campaigns, such as advocating for the reduction of single-use plastics, organizing environmental cleanup activities, and holding seminars on sustainability and natural resource conservation. In addition, many of them apply sustainability principles in their daily lives, such as promoting the consumption of environmentally friendly products, the use of renewable energy, and reducing food waste. The involvement of the Muslim community in these environmental movements is increasingly important because they can serve as examples for the general public in integrating religious teachings with everyday life that cares for the earth and the environment. This movement is also one way for the Muslim community in Korea to build a positive image as part of the solution to global environmental challenges.